Hi guys, today I'm going to talk about vaccines. It's not something I usually involve myself with. I haven't taken any vaccine for a long time. I don't have much faith in the medical system that produces and administers vaccines. I have enough information about the vaccines to be wary about it. But I've been involved with toxicity in food and environment, and particularly about glyphosate. Nonetheless, I thought I'll just make my position clear, my opinion clear. I'm a citizen of Canada. I have a right to my opinion. And here is what I think. And I have spoken about it and explored some of the things with scientists that I know. I also have a video with scientist Anthony Samsel where he discovered presence of glyphosate in most of the popular vaccines. And by the way, glyphosate is not intentional. There are many other nasty stuff in the vaccine other than the virus or the bacteria against which you are supposed to get immunization. Apart from that, they have a lot of other things to make the vaccine work, and those other things are potentially dangerous if they hit your important organs in the body when it's being injected. But glyphosate is not one of them. It is not supposed to be there. It doesn't have any benefit for the vaccine as far as the makers are concerned, but yet it is there. How and why? Well, vaccine makers use very cheap components to make their vaccines, mainly factory-produced animal parts, and those factory-produced animals, whether it's cattle or chicken or what, they are fed industry-produced food, which is laced with glyphosate because they're grown with Roundup-ready crops and so on. So anyway, while Monsanto tries to claim that it doesn't accumulate in the body, it does not bioaccumulate, but it does, and that's what Anthony Samsel progressively found, and eventually started testing animal parts from the factory-farmed animals, and he found presence of glyphosate in them, even in unlikely places like horns and hooves and beaks and so on, and of course inside eggs. So anyhow, he found glyphosate in vaccines, and I made that video educating people, giving the data of which make and which kind of vaccine had how much of glyphosate. That's out there. You can see the link of it in my video. Apart from that, there are a few things that I have my doubts about the effectiveness of vaccine for. In principle, what does vaccines say that they are supposed to do? What do they say? Well, they say that you are injected with a mild version of the disease, or mild version of the virus, or mild version of the bacteria, which gives you the disease. And when you are given that milder version, it doesn't make you completely sick, but it's an unwanted item in your body, and your body immune system recognizes it and figures out how to fight it, how to make antibodies for it, and it keeps that information in its memory bank, so that when you are in future, when and if you are actually attacked by the real bacteria, real potent one, potent microorganism, you are already prepared to fight it. My problem with this theory is twofold. One, people's immune systems are not identical, so it's virtually impossible to figure out how to make a benign microorganism that will not make you sick, and yet it will raise alarm to protect you. It might not affect 99 out of 100 people, or even 999 out of 1,000, but may still affect that one person in 1,000, and he gets sick and even die. There is a talk, if you go into it in detail, that say that, if it accidentally it harms less people than it protects, then it's worth it. But where is the statistics? If you see statistics, which by the way is under control of the corporation, they don't want to give any information, they don't want to test anything that finds a problem with their product. They only promote research which finds their product to be good to be used. So as a result, we have lost the neutrality and objectivity of science. Science has become voodoo when it comes to these things. Anyhow, if 1 out of 10,000 people die of measles without vaccination, and if 10 out of 10,000 people die of measles because of the vaccination, which is better? I personally think without vaccination is better. Why? Because this idea that your immune system prepares itself to fight it is exactly what the immune system is supposed to do anyway when you actually get invaded by these viruses. And by the way, every breath we take, every drink we take, every bite of food we take, there are microorganisms entering our body. Some of them are not helpful. The body is continuously identifying them and fighting them. Sometimes they come across one that they don't have a prior knowledge of. It figures out how to fight it out, and eventually it makes antibodies and fight. That's how we evolved. Humans have evolved for 2 million years protecting themselves from these things. Mammals have evolved for 50 million years. Living organisms have evolved for 500 million years. Our immune system goes that back, that long back, in hit and trial to see how to make an immune system that will keep us alive. And you come in 2 years of research and come out with some thingamajig and say that you're done one up on evolution. My foot. And so this is the first problem. I am not sure that the vaccine is safe, even if there was no other unwanted thing and just that benign part of the vaccine, which is why you are not given rabies shots till you're bitten by a mad dog. If it was that good, everybody should get that vaccine. Why isn't everybody getting it? Because it is inherently dangerous. Even if you have not been bitten by a mad dog, if you get that vaccination, you might get rabies. So that's my first problem. My second problem is in the logic, the convoluted logic, the complete lie that is being promoted by the industry and being bought by the government and the institutions is that if you're not vaccinated, the other kid in the school who is vaccinated is at harm. He might get affected, he might become sick because you are carrying some disease. That's a bloody bollocks, If you're vaccinated, you're already protected. You cannot be sick by somebody else carrying it. In fact, you are the one who might be carrying it and not getting sick because you're protected. You are the one who are danger to the other guy who has not been vaccinated, who can be infected by you because you are safe, but you're carrying the goddamn thing. So if somebody is at risk, it is the person who is not being vaccinated who is at risk, and he's taking his or her risk at her own discretion. So you are not, the logic that you must, whether you like it or not, you must be vaccinated because you are endangering the other guy who is vaccinated is complete bollocks. So this kind of institutional lie is what makes you instinctively against it, and I am against it. I have never taken one. I've told my doctor once. He tried to push vaccines to me many times. Now he's given up. And I've told him I'll not take it without a gun on my head. In fact, between a gun in the head and the vaccine, I'm 70 years old. I prefer to be shot clean and dead rather than die lingeringly. So, but that's my opinion. I'm not going around shouting about it. But I believe that there are efforts afoot to make it mandatory, where children will not be given the choice, the parents will not be given the choice to make that decision. I think that's completely wrong to force something being injected which has never been proven safe independently by methods that are completely out of control or not being controlled by the industry or the politicians or the government. They've never been proven safe and effective. And also the synergistic, you are putting 10 vaccines. What happens if all of them, one affects the other, or the bad parts in one affect the other? So for all these reasons, I'm instinctively against, and I find our democracy is being hijacked by all these kind of things. Vaccine is just one of them. the forced toxification of our environment and food in the name of development is another. Basically, our democracy is being hijacked, and I felt that Canadians are lazy people. That's why we have all these things coming, and it's not just Canadians. So are Americans. So are, I mean, the Western civilization has had its good days, and now we are, because we take everything for granted, we don't have strength of character, we don't have a backbone, we don't fight for our rights. We let it be taken away by corporations and all these chills and all these bloody, guys who are being paid by the industry. So, if you are concerned about your parents, your children being force vaccinated in future, you might consider joining some of the groups which are coming up now to resist this method of forced vaccination. I personally don't join any group that demands that I pay something for the membership. I don't like the idea of taking money from the people in order to protect them. I think it needs to be a political movement and not a commercial movement or a legal movement where I have to pay money and lots of people have to pay money for expensive lawyers to, Anyway, so there are more than one ways that the people are being taken to court for glyphosate, for instance, and sometimes they're even winning class action suits and all where they're not paying, but the lawyer will take a hefty chunk of the prize money, of the damages, if they're awarded damages. That I can still understand. So anyway, there are also some groups that are not asking for money, but they want to make it a political front. I personally ask these questions to the candidates who are standing for elections. I don't believe in voting according to the party. That's all crap. They tell you whatever you want to hear, and then when they get elected, they just do whatever they want to do. So basically, I don't believe in party politics because the leader dictates how a member has to vote, and I would prefer that they were all independent. There are not enough independents, unfortunately, but I wish they were. And I would like to vote on issues. I don't want this and this and this. So if you are going to oppose it, I'm going to vote for you. If you're not going to oppose it, I'm not going to vote for you. And if you say you're going to oppose it and then backtrack, which is why I don't like parties. I got fed up of NDP, I got fed up of Liberals, I will not even touch the Conservatives with a 10-foot pole, and the Greens have disappointed me, and now the new one is coming out as a People's Party. They say that, climate change is all God's wish and it's nothing to do with humans. So, that's my opinion about vaccines. Be careful. I think we are heading for a disastrously slippery slope. And it's up to you people to either show that you have a backbone or just take it lying down. That's it. This is Tony Mispa. I have said my piece.